This is the Genesee County Compassion Club show. I'm your host, Jeremy, back in the studio, allpointstv.com. How's everybody doing today? How are we doing today?
I'm doing well.
John.
It's been a while since you've been here.
It is. I apologize. I've been busy. It's that time of year, you know what I'm saying? Harvest season. How you been, John?
Pretty good. I mean, I haven't been as busy as you. I've been keeping track of what year's going on for you. You're busy. Yep. There's a lot of stuff going on at the club.
Absolutely. Well, it's good to be back in the studios. I want to get back with you guys as well, let you know what's been happening, get you up to speed on what's going on with medical marijuana around Michigan and the state, remind you of what's been happening at the club, and actually, I want to say how thankful I am. I mean, it's Thanksgiving season, right? Turkey?
Yeah, tomorrow's the big day.
That's right. I think Charlie Brown's on tonight. Yeah. Definitely down for that.
And then pretty soon it's going to be Frosty. And
Peanut season.
They still show Frosty and Rudolph.
Yeah. They don't miss any advertising opportunities these days.
I liked Rudolph and Frosty when I was younger. Okay, I was like my 30s, but all right. Anyway.
Hey, the Abominable Snowman, he's getting to be a very popular character these days, John. So.
Isn't that kind of weird? Something like, see shirts with like stuff on it and all kinds of merchandising stuff.
Throwback to the
it's stuff from my childhood. Yeah,
the Misfit toys. Yeah, it's a big deal. All right, well, hey, I want to talk about marijuana, so we're going to do that. First of all, I want to remind everybody we do have the Soup Kitchen. This is Soup Kitchen. I guess this time of year, I think people think more about giving back. I hope they do. And we'd like to have your assistance if we can. We're serving down at the Soup Kitchen on Friday. Same place we always do at the North End Charities there on Stewart Avenue. And if we could have your assistance, we definitely appreciate it. And I'm sure it'll be a busy one that it's day after Thanksgiving. So if you could help out, definitely appreciate it. And meet us at the club or right at the Soup Kitchen, either way. You guys know what to do.
Do you know what's on the menu for? Is it going to be the turkey, or is that you already done that?
I don't know what's on the menu, John. I apologize.
Okay, I was just not that I actually go up there and wait in line, but right. Not too often. Okay.
Yeah. So we got that going on there. Other than that, man, things are happening down at the club. We're busy. We're open. And we're making it happen. So come on down and join us. Our food has been off the hook. I know the guys have been doing Taco Tuesday. I still haven't got to have a taco, and I'm dying for a taco. But I hear they're absolutely amazing, and you got to get there early because they sell out fast. But yeah, I mean, the club's happening. If you guys, I've had a lot of questions. Obviously, there's been some stuff going on locally, and I don't want to get into too much detail. So I know everybody's probably waiting. Here's the letdown. But no, there's the stuff that's going on. It's being handled, and we are open. Come see us. All right. It's good stuff, and we're not going anywhere. All right. The state of Michigan is an amazing one, and I guess if you look at what's been happening with medical marijuana in Michigan, it is the hot topic. It's everywhere, and it's amazing. We've already had 8 years of this in the system. And it sort of was dying down, if you will, at least in the mainstream and in the papers and so on. But this new law that they've passed, this new system they're creating for medical marijuana in Michigan, is creating quite a flurry around the state. And today I want to get into some of the details of what's been happening, let you guys get updates. And it's a very interesting show to watch, if you will. Never before, I think, in Michigan, maybe if we went back to the early days of when Prohibition ended, but since then there really has never been a proliferation of a single industry like there is right now. I mean, maybe if we looked at the auto industry, we could draw comparisons as to the entrepreneurial spirit that's by medical marijuana, by the legislation that's been passed, and by the, I would say, future of this industry as well, as people well know that it's going to have a future here in Michigan, and a growing one at that, albeit the pun. But I think that if we look at this, I mean, it is an amazing development. It is something to be watched, I guess, but also something to be a participant in. And what we're having is, because of the legislation that was passed, we are now currently in the throes of local townships making decisions on what they want to do. Do they want to have these new facilities in their community? And I think the majority of these townships are wise enough to understand that legalization, adult recreational use, it is happening. It's going to happen in Michigan at some point. And we're going to get into some of those details today on the show as well. But I think all in all, when we take a step back and we look at the big picture here, the majority of these communities, they understand that marijuana is going to be something that's going to be around. And so they're trying to find out and figure out how do they want to be a part of it, if they want to be a part of it, what level, and so on and so forth. And this is a long list. I've got communities from around the state that you can look up and see how they're dealing with creating new ordinances for these new places. And it is really interesting, all the different responses that we're getting. Many of them have decided simply that they don't want to participate. Many of them have decided that they want to wait and get further clarification from the state. And many of them have jumped right in and have started taking applications and fees and so on and so forth. So, I've got communities, Pinconning and Bangor. We've talked about those on the program here. I think Bangor Township had like some 55 different applications that were accepted for different facilities just in Bangor Township. That's up by Bay City. Pinconning also had quite a large amount as well. Communities like Kalamazoo still up in the air, still trying to figure things out. Small towns like Kinsley, little tiny town up north, passed an ordinance up there. And not to get into too much detail on each one of these, because really we could take all afternoon and go through and explain what each town is doing and how it differs. But this is a good example just off the top. The town of Kinsley, again, it's a small town, it's up north. They passed an ordinance to opt in for the new Medical Marijuana Facilities Act, and they are allowing, I guess to clarify, they are allowing grow facilities there. They're going to take licenses, they're going to take applications for growing facilities up in Kinsley, but they have not licensed anything else. And according to what we've read so far, they don't have any plans to. So there's one way that a community is deciding to opt in. It's sort of like, all right, we'll put our foot in, but not the rest. So very interesting. Other communities like Lansing, other small towns like Big Creek. I didn't even know we had a Big Creek, Michigan, John.
I see postings from people on Facebook and from towns in Michigan. I went, I don't know. I have to go type up the map. Wow, I never heard of that place.
Right, yeah. Lowell. I know of Lowell because I've been through there. It's on M21. Another small town, wondering what to do. And then, of course, you got big towns like Detroit. Detroit's up in arms. They just had, originally they were going to opt out. That's what their board voted. The voters and the people in the city said, no, we don't want to do that. We want to have more opportunity than what's currently available. Took a vote and got it to be on the ballot, got the ballot passed, and now they're opting in. And even more on that story, you can actually look it up in the Detroit Free Press. Now the Detroit Planning Commission is wanting to sue to change the referendum that was passed by the voters just 2 weeks ago. So it is a council fighting against businesses or aspiring businesses, and the citizens and the patients in between getting hopefully not lost. But very, very interesting to see how this is all playing out. Lansing, another area where they had the city council doing one thing, petitions were taken, collected, city clerk said, no, you don't have enough. And actually they did have enough, so now they're suing the city clerk over counting the right amount of signatures. I mean, it's a mess. And all in between, you have patients. Really what this was for, it was for to provide access to patients. And thankfully, we still have the patient and caregiver system that's been working just fine for the past 8 years. It hasn't gone anywhere. So, it's interesting. Hopefully, communities will be able to sort through this. The Department of LARA, which is responsible for issuing the rules for this new program, just recently came out and said, look, we're not going to have the rules ready before Thanksgiving. We wanted to, but we're not. And hopefully, we will have the rules out by next week. So cities and townships that are currently, having meetings, and they're happening all over the city, all over the state right now, who are waiting for this information will hopefully get it here shortly, and hopefully that'll allow them to make more educated decisions on how they can regulate these things, what the rules are going to be, and sort of, what are their applications going to be like if they are going to participate. So you get into details and stuff like that. If these communities decide that, okay, yeah, we do want to look into this. This is something we might want to try to create some revenue from. We know that we have patients and people in the community that want to take part in this. how can we do so and make sure that we're being compliant? Recently had a good conversation with local township trustee Eric Gunnels, who's on the Thetford Township, and they are currently having debate. They're taking information and they're trying to make a decision on what to do in Thetford Township. Currently, right now, I think Thetford Township has almost 10 different businesses that are related to medical marijuana. When we're talking about brick and mortar businesses, not a caregiver in their own home. We're talking about actual brick and mortar businesses. So there's already an established network going on, and then they have new people wanting to come in and take part in the new system. So you can see how there is a lot of questions to be asked, a lot of information to be digested, and a lot of details to sort through. So this is not easy for townships to make these decisions, and it's important that they have all the information and that all of the people that are affected by it have a chance to participate in the process as well. Public hearing is next Monday, the 27th, and I believe it starts at 4:30 p.m. They're giving extra time for extra input. So looks like they're doing all they can, which is a pretty positive thing. That's kind of the way you want to have your local government, is encouraging your local populace to participate. And that's what we need to be doing. So if, it doesn't matter where you live at right now. If you live in the city of Flint, if you live in, one of the townships in Genesee County, anywhere right now, it is likely that your local township, city, village, community board is making decisions about medical marijuana in your town. So if you're a patient or a caregiver, now is the time to make sure that you are getting involved, showing up at your local township meeting. Maybe you've never been to one. Now is the time to attend one. Maybe get a copy of their agenda, find out what topics they're talking about. There's a small chance it might not be on the radar, but there's a very good chance that medical marijuana will absolutely be on their radar and will be discussed right now. Lansing, as an example, is taking applications for the new medical marijuana facilities. As of yet, they have yet to receive any. The people, prospective business owners in Lansing, are waiting for more clarification on rules, I guess, before they submit their application, which might be a wise thing to do. But at any rate, right now, they're saying, the city of Lansing is saying that if you want to have a distribution center, you have to turn in your application by December 15th. So it doesn't give these prospective business owners very much time to get everything together and to, properly prepare and submit. But at any rate, that's what they're requiring. As for the other 4 other types of licenses that would potentially be available, like delivery, testing, growing, processing, those they didn't put a deadline on. So kind of interesting. Why did they put a deadline on one and not the other? Kind of like the town of Kinsley that I just mentioned. Why are they allowing a grow facility but yet no other type of facility? Where do they think that grow facility's material is going to go to? Just magically poof away? Not really sure what the logic is there. But at any rate, I think that these are things that cities have to decide and think about. And I think that the rush right now is really quite amazing. You're seeing it happen across the state, from entrepreneurs to council people to our legislators, who are really, really excited about cashing in. And I think that some of that is a little bit on a false pretense, if you will. If you remember, we only have about 250,000 people in our program to begin with, which creates a very limited market, a very limited number of consumers, if you will, for the medical marijuana market. So how is it that there could be so many communities across the state with so many businesses and so many fees and so on and so forth? How could it be possible that this patient segment could actually support all of these businesses? And that's what I'm talking about. I think it's a false pretense. I think most of these communities and most of these businesses are absolutely planning on opening up into the legalized adult recreational market. And they're doing it on a pretense of medical. So I highly doubt you'd have $20 million or proposed $20 million facilities to service 50, 60 patients. That doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. But at any rate, that's what's being talked about at the current time. So with without further ado, let's talk about the adult legalized recreational market. The Council to Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol, CRMLA for short, along with MI Legalize and MI Normal and some other support groups around the state, were able to turn in 360,000 bona fide signatures to the state canvassers for adult legalized recreational use. So what that means, folks, is that yes, they got enough signatures for the ballot, and once these are verified, you will see it on the ballot in November of 2018. It will be your choice. First time ever for Michigan to decide whether or not they want to have adult marijuana use. So if you signed the petition, good job. Your signature counted, obviously, and you'll get to choose one more time. Everybody will in November of 2018. And they had a legitimate group collect these signatures. It was done by paid professionals, so I don't think there's going to be a problem with, well, you didn't get enough signatures. We saw that happen, last year with the group Safer Mich, who worked their butts off and basically got shafted in the end. But it appears second time's a charm, and it's going through this time. So that's not verified yet, but you can bet it's going to be verified. So we have legalization coming, and I think that the majority of the townships out there, cities, like I said, I think the majority of those folks realize that that is the case. And so when they're making decisions today and throughout the next month or two based on a medical marijuana proposal, I think most of them have it in mind that this is also regulation, and so forth, proper procedure, setting up all the correct boundaries right now for what's going to be coming in the next very short few years. It's kind of interesting. So some other information I want to share with you guys. There's a House bill right now, 5189 House bill. It has a committee hearing on Tuesday the 28th. It's just next week. This bill is to limit the number of licenses allowed at each location. So currently right now, the Department of LARA, the licensing board, MMLB, came out and said, look, you can stack licenses. So that means some fat cats can come along and get 1,500 plant count licenses and maybe get 7 or 8 of them and just have a huge marijuana farm, and then there's your marijuana monopoly, right? This bill would limit that. It would say, all right, you can only have 1 or 2 or whatever the number is, licenses per location. So very simply put. Doesn't mean that they can't go out and get another license at another location. It just means they can't have more than one at that same one. So in any rate, that type of legislation would certainly keep the market more micro, if you will, and keep away these macro people that want to jump in and do mega farms. So I'm personally in favor of this legislation. I think it's a good thing. I would encourage you to check it out for yourself. Again, it is House Bill 5189. You can go to michiganlegislature.gov, look it up, read it for yourself, and then talk to your legislator, let them know if you support it or not, and then they can, have some input on that. But their hearing is the 28th. You could go there if you feel so inclined and give your 2 cents. But it's also just as effective to call up your representative and do that. And again, it's in the House right now, so you'd want to call your House representative, not your senator just yet. All right, a couple other things I wanted to talk about today. There's other states obviously have stuff going on. Florida's one of them. I wanted to mention Florida real quick because obviously we could complain about what's happening here in Michigan because things could always be better. But let's look at Florida for just a minute and remember how good we have it right now, okay? Florida passed medical marijuana well over a year ago, and there's obviously a lot of folks in Florida that need medical marijuana today. But Florida has yet only licensed 6 facilities out of their possible 10. So their law was terrible to begin with, only allowing 10 facilities to produce, sell, and the type of facilities licensed down there are different than what we're talking about up here in Michigan or anywhere else. The facilities that grow, produce, and sell all at the same place, all at the same license. And they were only going to allow 10 of these across the state. So you can imagine the type of facilities that we're talking about here. These are mega boys, big bucks. And even though they went ahead and did that, they're going to have the monopoly thing. Even so, they've only handed out 6 of the 10. And the 6 that they've handed out aren't even really online yet. They're not really producing. So it's so bad actually that there's a gentleman in Florida who is, I believe he suffers from epilepsy, and then also another gentleman who owns a nursery who is probably applying for a license. They've joined together and they're going to sue the state of Florida for not performing the functions that they were supposed to under the law that was passed by their own voters. So who knows what will happen with the suit, but at any rate, it's bad, and you can see how it's a bad program to begin with. Even when they do finally get it up and running, it's still not going to be very good. It certainly doesn't do anything for the common Main Street entrepreneurial type spirit that we see going on here in Michigan or other states like Colorado and California. It's not really going to do a lot for patients. You can imagine Florida is a big state. If you only have 6 places spread around, it's going to be difficult for patients to get access. So it's not a good thing. All right. Other news of the day I want to share with you: MPP, which has been absolutely influential here in Michigan. Marijuana Policy Project, of course, is what I'm talking about. Recently, their director, Rob Campia, who has really been the brainchild of MPP from start to now, he's the director. He recently just stepped down to pursue other things, I guess. The MPP, of course, is trying to spin this as a positive thing for Mr. Campia. And, of course, the backside of the story is that Mr. Campia has had different sexual harassment type allegations made against him in the past. Doesn't look like there's been anything recently. And a lot of the allegations, I mean, they're kind of, obviously they're hearsay or whatever. But, MPP... Mr. Campia aside, MPP has been very helpful, very influential here in Michigan. They've been influential and helpful in our current ballot initiative with the CRMLA that I was just talking about. And they were also pretty much solely, I don't want to say solely, but pretty much solely responsible for the medical marijuana law that was passed in Michigan back in 2008. So MPP has been a very influential organization in getting marijuana policies changed. Obviously, the name of the company is Marijuana Policy Project, but they've done a good job. And at any rate, hopefully, I'm sure they'll be able to continue to do so. I know that there have been a lot of high-quality people on staff at MPP, and I have no doubt that that'll remain the same. So, in spite of the hoopla and all the whatever, I would still say MPP is a good organization. You're certainly benefiting from them right now if you're a patient or caregiver in Michigan. Okay. All right. That's about all I have as far as news and information. Like I said before, you've got communities literally all across the state. I almost guarantee you, no matter where you live at, your community right now, your community board leaders, your trustees, your supervisors, they're talking about medical marijuana right now. And the best thing that you can do is just provide information. You don't have to, tell them what to do. You don't have to have the grand plan for how it all should go down. But you do have the right to voice your needs as a citizen, your concerns as a patient, and also offer information. Whatever that information is that they're looking to get from you. These township officials, they're not experts at medical marijuana, and we're kind of asking them to step up and be one real quick and make some laws based on that. So it is more helpful if they have more information and from a positive outlook. Not, you better protect my rights. They're looking for information that's going to be helpful to them. So you don't have to do it in a fearful spirit. You can do it in a positive a way that's going to, hopefully cultivate something that's going to be better for you as a patient and better for the community as well. So it's a win-win thing. This is opportunity here, and I think that's what a lot of people understand and see. Opportunity for betterment for patients, but also for the community as well. I think what we do have to remember, though, is that currently right now, this is for medical. It is for patients. And as far as, opportunity aside, the important thing is that patients' needs are being met. So, I know that, like I said, a lot of communities are looking to cash in. A lot of businesses out there are seeing this as the next gold rush. And it may be. It's proving to be that out in other states where we have recreational markets opened up for adult use. But until that happens, this is for medical, this is for patients, for people who need it. And there was a recent comment at a community hearing, and I think it was up in I want to say this was in Big Creek, wherever that's at. But anyways, at the hearing, the county prosecutor, and I don't know if it was like the lead prosecutor or just somebody that was on staff that was there to speak on behalf of law enforcement to the community, made an off-the-cuff comment that basically 99.9%, this is what they said, 99.9% of the medical marijuana card holders right now are faking it. That they're just using it for recreational purposes, and that we should just be frank about that. And I would say that statement is entirely false. I believe that the majority of the people out there that have medical marijuana cards are using it for medicinal purposes. And to discredit them, I think, is very disheartening. And it shouldn't be allowed. I think that type of attitude takes away from what we currently have right now and just sort of cast it in a bad light. And if you want to have that attitude when we're talking about recreational or whatever, fine. You're entitled to that. But until then, you need to respect the fact that these people are patients, that they do have a bona fide relationship with a physician who has recommended that they use this for the benefit of their ailments. And I don't think that you should take that away from them. I mean, people medicate with all different types of things, and we don't look down on them for that. There's nobody making snide comments about somebody who's using prescription drugs for medicinal purposes. Sure, we like to say things about people who misuse it, but you're allowed to do that as well, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Pick on them, maybe they'll stop. But we need to remember that this market, this product that we have right now, is for medicinal purposes, and we need to respect the patients who are using it and respect them from the standpoint of, hey, this is medicinal use, to respecting them from the standpoint that, hey, you should not be robbing them, all right, or trying to make your next gold rush off their back. So hopefully communities can remember that. One of the things I did want to mention, the state has decided that their application fees, regardless of what it is you're applying for, the application fee is going to be $6,000. That'll be in addition to whatever fee will be charged by the local community, and I'm hearing an average of about $5,000 per application at the local level. And this will also be in addition to the fee that will be charged to the regulation, or however you want to call it, of whatever category it is you've chosen. So if you're, for example, you're going to be a processing center, there's going to be an additional fee for that from the state beyond your application fee, and so on and so forth for the other categories. So right there, you're talking, $10,000, $12,000 just in fees, just in application fees, and then you're going to obviously have additional fees on top of that. So there's definitely going to be cost involved in this that are not going to be able to be erased. If the state if that's what they're going to charge, that's going to be passed on to the patients in some way, shape, or form. So we got to make sure that the patients are protected and taken care of. You have to remember, these patients are not covered by health insurance. There's no Rite Aid, blue card discount thing going on for them. There's no Social Security, bump for this. I mean, it is coming out of their pocket. So when we talk about this cost, we have to remember that this is a medicinal purpose. A lot of these people are already on fixed income sources or low income sources, and a lot of these people don't have an alternative. So maybe we should be talking about how to impact that as well as we craft this new program. All right, so that's what I have for the day. I want to definitely remind everybody it's Thanksgiving season. I hope you're thankful. I know I am certainly thankful. I'm thankful for the club, for all of you members being there every day, making it happen, being the best place on earth. We've had an amazing time, and we continue to do so, and we will continue to do so. So tomorrow, I hope you enjoy the day off. We are closed on Thanksgiving, so don't come down to the club on Thanksgiving. We're closed. For all of you that are there rocking it all the time and every day, I hope you enjoy your day off. I hope you enjoy your day with your family, enjoy your day with your turkey, and I hope you can be thankful for what you have. All right? John, thanks for being with me today. Definitely appreciate All Points TV being here, being a source of information, being a place that allows me to come in and flap my jaw, and I'm mostly thankful for you guys. So have a great Thanksgiving. I hope to catch you after the holiday. See ya.